Yes, guys, I hope we are all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. So today, it's Saturday. I'm actually doing something a little bit different today, believe it or not. I'm actually going for brunch with one of the girls that I know who lives out here, Rachel. It's actually been the first time we've met up since I've moved out here, so that'd be really, really nice to see her and do something a little bit different. I honestly am craving just eggs, avocado, and sourdough, and hopefully some smoked salmon as well, because at the moment my meal one is literally just eggs and spinach, because I don't have any carbs in meal one anymore, which is honestly so tragic. So obviously I've just adjusted my meals around today. I've not had eggs for my first meal because I'm going to be having eggs for this next meal. I had the worst night's sleep last night, I will say, like literally the worst. I probably slept like maybe 3.5 hours. I was up since like 1:30, which is crazy. It's always when I start to get a little bit leaner, even though I've just taken a deload, which is really frustrating because I feel like I've had a couple of kind of crappy night sleeps this past week, and it kind of makes me feel like it's counteracting my deload a little bit. So I'm a bit annoyed about that, but ultimately I know my body sometimes, and I think that when I just started to get just that little bit leaner, a little bit tighter, I usually have just a bit of a crap night's sleep before I see quite a big drop. And this morning I just could not be asked to stay in bed. So I actually ended up getting up at like 4, even though I've been up since like 1:30, close to 2, trying to like sort of doze, seeing, try my luck if I could just fall asleep again. But I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm just gonna get up at 4. And that was like an hour or so earlier than what I would usually weigh myself. And I was kind of on par with my current low. So I was 61.6 today, but I did check in this morning. And I was actually really, really happy with the visuals, which is not often I say that, but I was actually pretty happy with how I'm looking now. I do feel like things are starting to change a bit more, but it's just taken us a while to get to that point when I started to see more shape come through. I did get up and I was just like, my waist feels tight this morning. Definitely the leanest I've been. I do feel like that crappy night's sleep was probably just because I had quite a big shift last night. So it is what it is. I'll catch up tomorrow. I'm not going to let it get to me today. I've got a nice day planned. So I'm already kind of ahead with steps. I've done my first block. I need to order a taxi now, so obviously I can get to the place, which is actually in Dubai Hills. And we're going to this place called Roasters, which I think I've been to before just for coffee, but not for food. But the food does look very, very good. So I'm going to show you that once I get there, but I better go because I'm already running late. Wouldn't be like me. Oh, guys, I'm actually the worst. I was intending to video the meal. Well, I say meal, it was literally just brunch. Sourdough, eggs, avocado. I will put a picture in here though so you can see what I got up to. But so nice to catch up with Rachel and actually meet her properly, because I've actually not met her properly yet. So we literally just chat for like a couple of hours, got a few steps in, or not a few steps, like a lot of steps in, a lot of steps. Let me have a look. Yeah, so that is 14,200 steps done. So that is me well and truly capped off for the day. I won't even need to really make that much of adjustment today because it wasn't like a big meal, and I didn't actually end up getting a coffee because I could not wait to have caffeine this morning. So I did have a coffee this morning, and then I had half a Monster as well. So I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna hold off on the caffeine because otherwise my head might literally fall off. And because I did not sleep very well last night, I want to be able to switch off early today so I can get a proper good night's sleep once I've just capped off a little bit of work. We were speaking about sort of coaching standards in the industry, and you know, I suppose like holding ourselves to a really high standard when it comes to our relationship that we build with clients, how we interact with clients, like obviously the way that we go about things, I suppose, with how we handle our businesses, and something that we're really, really proud of, because we certainly know people that are maybe not so much like that, like, not that it's wrong, everyone each to their own, but we know a lot of people that are just a lot more hands-off as coaches. It's just because we want to be able to provide the best service, and we care so much about each and every individual that it just feels like a no-brainer to be more on the sides of hands-on than hands-off. Christmas has literally just come early because, guys, I've just walked into the gym and look at what has been fixed. Oh, I am actually buzzing. Like, if I had to do this one more time, especially given that I've just come off the back of a deload. So I had 3 full rest days. I then got back into training. I just ended up doing normal volume, didn't pull back my volume, but I haven't done cardio all week. So I was praying that the cross trainer was going to be fixed by the time I got back into need to do cardio, because quite honestly, my arse cheeks could not deal with the bike literally for any more sessions. I've heard that it gets better, but I'm just going to take your word for it because I did not want to find out. In general, body weight has actually still been sat in the what? In the 61s all week. So typically you take a few days away from training and you are going to find that body weight typically does drop down a bit because inflammation drops off when you're not training. And also I wasn't on train day food, I was on rest day food, so that's less food volume. So less carbohydrate, less water retention. So there's a few factors which often means if you do take a few days out of the gym, that your body weight will drop. So you don't need to think about like that anything has kind of gone wrong or anything like that. And it's also a reason why I say if you take a few days out of the gym for any particular reason and your body weight drops, it's not necessarily like reflective of like body fat losses per se, because there's a few reasons as to why that would be the case. However, since I've actually been back training, which has been 3 sessions now, I would probably, if fat loss wasn't happening, I would expect to see body weight almost kind of come back up to where it was before, but actually it stayed on the lower end, and I do actually feel like a good bit leaner in myself at the moment. So like obviously it's nothing super significant because I'm not like lean by any means, but definitely just seeing an improvement to the shape of, you know, my midsection, my legs, my glutes, like everything is starting to come through just that little bit more now, which is fantastic. But we still have work to do because I know where I want to be sort of before Christmas time, and I definitely want to sort of hit that 60 kilo mark, if not exceed it, by the time Christmas comes around. So I've got maybe just under 3 weeks before I go back to the UK, because I fly back on the 19th. So today is the 1st December, so happy 1st December, guys. I cannot believe how quickly this year has gone. It actually blows my mind. I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit though. And it is also Dubai Day or something like that. That's why they've got all these like balloons up, you see. They're like everywhere. I think it's like Dubai Day or Dubai Flag Day or something like that, but it might be a holiday as well because I think it's quite quiet outside. I think they've also fixed this Smith here as well, because this was not looking good last time I saw it. It was definitely not looking safe, let's put it that way. I haven't done a Smith machine press here in the apartment gym since I've been training here for the past like few sessions, just because I was just like, yeah, I'm not risking that. But I know where I want to be in the next few weeks. I definitely want to push forward to get there. Today is my first cardio session back, and I'm looking forward to having a really good week under my belt. Body weight didn't really increase at all after the meal that I had the other day. Like just sourdough and eggs. It was a fairly easy swap to make, to be honest. And yeah, like we're just going to be full steam ahead, locked in for the next few weeks until the festivities kick off. And obviously, inevitably, I'm back home and my mum tries to feed me all the goodies. So time to get this cardio done, and then I will catch you a little bit later. Okay guys, happy Wednesday. Had to just think there for a second what day it actually was. Like honestly, these slightly crappy night's sleep are starting to piss me off a little bit now, I will say. Like this morning, I was actually up from, I think like 2:45. So these wake times, like my body is just getting me up early, which usually is the case when I start just to get a little bit leaner. Not that I would actually know on the scale, because I'm waking up so early that obviously the earlier you get up, the higher body weight's going to be because it's less time in bed. So obviously I'm kind of like getting on the scale quite early on in the day compared to normal. So my body weight hasn't actually really changed all that much. I'm still sort of sat mid 61s, but that is like with a 3 o'clock weigh-in. So I would have thought if I'd got up at normal time at 5, that would probably be a little bit lighter. Well, I hope so. I think I'm getting leaner anyway. I definitely feel just that little bit leaner, but it would be nice to see that in a quantifiable measure. Like, I will say that I'm noticing just a little bit more shape, a bit more definition popping through, which is nice. And I think I mentioned to you before that you always get to this point where it's a bit of a turning point when it comes to how lean you get, and then every kilo off of that then looks a lot more substantial. I do feel like I'm like there at the moment, but oh my God, I literally just, these night sleeps, it's always the one thing that starts to go quite early for me. Even when I have done like preps before, my sleep goes quite like early on in the prep. I would say that I'm by like 8 weeks out, I'm kind of really struggling with sleep, and I have to kind of supplement with some extra sleep support just to actually get me through nights without actually like either having, it's not even broken sleep, because if I'm up, I'm up. So if I was up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I am not getting back to sleep after that. Like 90% of the time, that's like practically impossible. So I'm going to have to get up, and then obviously I'm delaying my first meal out by quite a long margin, but it is what it is. Like, I feel pretty good aside from that. Like, even though I've been up early today, I don't feel like, well, she says, ask me again about 4 o'clock, because we're actually training a little bit later today as well, because Kuba and Meg have literally landed, I think, maybe a couple of days ago in Dubai. So they're back into train, and I think Mark's training with Kuba, and he wants to keep his routine same as what he would do at home, which is understandable, obviously, because they're only out here for like a week or so with the time difference. So it just saves them having to change training time and like try and settle into a new time zone if they should stay in the old one. So I'm going to be wrecked. I'm going to be so wrecked at the end of the day. Oh my God. But, oh my God, I thought that was a spider. No, I'm freaked out. I literally walked straight into a spider's web. But anyway, I have actually had a food drop from this past check-in. So it's around 100, I think 150 calorie pull from both days. So those rest days now are around just under 1,500 calories. So we're definitely starting to get down there a little bit. Cardio's not changed, steps are not changed, Clen is still sort of 60. We might take a little push forward with that, I think, next week. I think maybe that'll go up to 80. And then obviously there'll be more flexibility over Christmas and New Year, since I'm obviously back in the UK. And then what I think I probably will do is just take my foot off the gas with this diet a little bit, come back up to maintenance for maybe like 6 to 8 weeks, and then push back on into next year, because like, obviously I've done the first chunk of fat loss now. I just don't want to, you know, obviously we can't just diet perpetually, and I don't want to like push my luck with all the work that I've done to get my body into a better place, especially with my thyroid function. I'm not using any sort of thyroid assistance, and I haven't been since last year when I took it out. So that was never needed, because we managed to get my thyroid function back into a good spot again. So I just don't want to push my luck with being in a deficit for too long, which is something you always need to keep in mind as well, that you do need to take these little stops. As much as it's just been a matter of me chipping away, and I've still been having off-plan meals and things like, which helps when the rate of loss is not as aggressive. But yeah, I just have been in a deficit for quite some time, maybe since like August, September, October. Yeah, so like, yeah, close to 4 months or so. So it would be around the time just to take maybe a little bit of a step back. But I'm excited to push on into this coming couple of weeks, because I know that if I can pull off a good 1.5 kilos or so in that time, that's again going to be pretty substantially different compared to where I'm at now. I really like to hit 60 kilos before going back to the UK. So yeah, game on for that. But one thing that I actually did want to touch on was retatrutide, because I know that this has been, the peptide world has literally exploded within bodybuilding and physique development. Retatrutide is something that has been spoken about quite a lot, and this is actually something that I've been implementing over the past few weeks now, actually. And I wanted to kind of run it for a few weeks before giving, I suppose, like my thoughts on it, and, you know, I suppose my experience and like anecdotal evidence. But just to preface with the fact that This is not just a peptide that helps with appetite. Now, that is a big reason why I have used it, and I will be honest about that. It's not simply just because I want to avoid being hungry. I don't mind being hungry per se, but I'm a very food focused person, let's put it that way. And it does not stop me from sticking to my diet. Like that is without a doubt. Like, I've done 2 preps before, I've been peeled without the use of retatrutide, and I know that I can do it because I have the discipline to do it. There is always going to be a slight benefit for overall health markers and mitochondrial function as well, which is another reason why a lot of people do use it outside of simply just the appetite suppressing qualities that it has. But I have been using basically less than a starting dose, like literally barely anything. I tried microdosing it. I've just started to do a couple of bigger bolus doses of it, which I'm still only using like 2 milligrams a week, which, yeah, but that did not even start where I think I started like 1.25, which again isn't even like the starting dose, the recommended starting dose of it. And obviously that has had quite a big effect, I will say. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still looking forward to my meals. Like, I still get hungry. It's not like that's like dampened totally. And then something that I did also want to weigh up was the effect that it would have on my digestion, because I know that for some people, depending on obviously the dosage and your own tolerance, I suppose, like it can have more an effect on digestion and slowing that down, which I don't think that slowing the rate of gastric emptying and having your food move through slower is necessarily like hugely advantageous. But I did notice that sort of like probably at the midpoint of using it, not so much now, not so much at the start, but in the midpoint, I did notice like some slowing of like that, and it's just like not ideal, but it has sort of seemed to settle off a little bit, maybe as my body's kind of adjusted to it a bit more as well. And we'll see now with the 2 like bigger boluses during the week, like if that actually changes at all. But I definitely do feel like it's made a big impact, not just to my hunger per se, because I still get hungry, but it's to the food focus and the food noise that I'm sure that a lot of you might relate to, like when you're dieting and you just think about food a lot. Now, does that, just because you have a craving doesn't mean that it's a command and you have to actually eat when you crave something. But I do feel like for the food noise, it's just dampened that right down. And something else that I've noticed is if I go out for an off-plan meal, I can quite easily like swap out a good bit of the day and not feel like absolutely ravenous by the time I get to my meal, to give myself a good buffer for a meal. And also I feel satisfied a lot earlier rather than feel like I have a big appetite. Like seriously, if you just unleashed me on like a feast, you would be disgusted like at how much food I could put away. My mum always says that about me as well. Like even when I was younger, she would be shocked how much I would eat, like literally matching my dad's portions. So yeah, like that is something that I have noticed, is that if I'm out for an off-plan meal, I feel fuller a lot earlier. So I sort of like, I have a more clear indication of where that stopping point is, where I feel satiated. Otherwise I could just go and go and go. Like seriously, I could easily put away a few thousand calories in a meal, I swear. So as much as, this is not me, it's not a scapegoat for me not wanting, like not being able to be hungry and not sticking to my diet. It's simply just to dampen down that food noise for the other benefits, and just on a very, very low dose. The aim is not to totally suppress appetite, but it has really helped with the food noise, I will say. I can see why people use it in prep, and in a reverse phase, it can be very, very effective. Like it definitely works, my experience so far. Just so you kind of you get a little bit more context in terms of the reasons why I use it, how it's affected me, and obviously I'll keep you updated on that process as well throughout the remainder of this diet. Sarah, good morning. I hope you are doing well, and as promised, plans all ready to go out to you, which I'm super, super excited to have you back on the team and be back working with you again, obviously to cap off the rest of this year so we can get a head start on. So that is an onboarding video sent out there for December. Absolutely love a December starter. I think it says a lot about someone when they want to start before everyone else typically wants to start, generally in the new year. So love to have her back on board. I actually worked with her, I think it was maybe the start of the year. She was on the program that I ran. She was on the Rise Up program that I ran, I think around like maybe May time. So she's actually returning. So it'd be amazing to be back working as a team again over these coming few months. We've got some big goals, so definitely be looking forward to getting her stuck into plans. But With that being said, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. I need to get my post-workout ready for the gym, and it's a leg day today. Definitely going to need a solid rest day tomorrow, I think, after today, given that I haven't slept all that well. So that is going to be the absolute priority, is just switching off, getting a good night's sleep tonight. And guys, I will see you in the next video. So if you are interested in coaching with myself, I will leave a link in the description box below. Just head through the link. We'll have a little chat about your goals. But until next time, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.